Part 3, Desserts, of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Engel. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Desserts. Cornstarch pudding. 1 pint of milk, 2 heaping tablespoonfuls of cornstarch, 3 tablespoonfuls of sugar, whites of 3 eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful vanilla. Beat the whites of the eggs very stiff. Mix the cornstarch with 1/2 cup of the milk and stir till it melts. Mix the rest of the milk and the sugar and put them on the fire in the double boiler. When it bubbles, stir up the cornstarch and milk well, and stir them in and cook and stir till it gets as thick as oatmeal mush. Then turn in the eggs and stir them lightly, and cook for a minute more. Take it off the stove, mix in the vanilla, and put in a mold to cool. When dinner is ready, turn it out on a platter and put small bits of red jelly around it, or pieces of preserved ginger, or a pretty circle of preserved peaches or preserved pineapple. Have a pitcher of cream to pass with it, or have a nice bowl of whipped cream. If you have a ring mold, let it harden in that, and have the whipped cream piled in the center after it is on the platter, and put the jelly or preserves around last. Chocolate cornstarch pudding. Use the same rule as before, but put in 1 more tablespoonful of sugar. Then shave thin 2 squares of baker's chocolate and stir in over the tea kettle till it melts, and stir it in very thoroughly before you put in the eggs. Instead of pouring this into 1 large mold, put it in the egg cups to harden. Turn these out carefully, each on a separate plate, and put a spoonful of whipped cream by each one. Coconut cornstarch pudding. Make the first rule. Before you put in the eggs, stir in a cup of grated coconut with an extra spoonful of sugar, or a cup of that which comes in packages without more sugar, as it is already sweetened. Serve in a large mold, or in small ones, with cream. Baked custard. 2 cups milk, yolks of 2 eggs, 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar, a little nutmeg. Beat the eggs till they are light. Mix the milk and sugar till the sugar melts. Put the 2 together and put it into a nice baking dish, or into small cups, and dust the nutmeg over the tops. Bake till the top is brown, and till when you put a knife blade into the custard it comes out clean. Coconut custard. Add a cup of coconut to this rule and bake it in 1 dish, stirring it up 2 or 3 times from the bottom, but after it begins to brown, leaving it alone to finish. Do not put any nutmeg on it. Tapioca pudding. 2 tablespoonfuls tapioca, yolks of 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 quart of milk. Put the tapioca into a small 1/2 cup of water and let it stand 1 hour. Then drain it and put it in the milk in the double boiler and cook and stir it till the tapioca looks clear like glass. Beat the eggs and mix the sugar with them, and beat again till both are light, and put them with the milk and tapioca and cook 3 minutes, stirring all the time. Then take it off the fire and add a saltspoonful of salt and a 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla, and let it get perfectly cold. Floating island. 1 pint milk, 3 eggs, 1/3 cup of sugar. Put the milk on the stove to heat in a good-sized pan. Beat the whites of the eggs very stiff, and as soon as the milk scalds, that is, gets a little wrinkly on top, drop spoonfuls of the egg onto it in little islands. Let them stand there to cook just 1 minute, and then with the skimmer take them off and lay them on a plate. Put the milk where it will keep hot, but not boil, while you beat the yolks of the eggs stiff, mixing in the sugar and beating that too. Pour the milk into the bowl of egg, a little at a time, beating all the while, and then put it in the double boiler and cook till it is as thick as cream. Take it off the fire, stir in a saltspoonful of salt and 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla, and set it away to cool. When it is dinner time, strain the custard into a pretty dish and slip the whites off the top 1 by 1. If you like, you can dot them over with very tiny specks of red jelly. Cake and custard. Make a plain boiled custard, just as before, with 1 pint of milk, yolks of 3 eggs, 1/3 cup sugar, 1 saltspoonful of salt, 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla. Beat the eggs and sugar, add the hot milk, and cook till creamy. Put in the salt and vanilla and cool. Then cut stale cake into strips or split lady's fingers into halves and spread with jam. Put them on the sides and bottom of a flat glass dish and gently pour the custard over. Brown Betty. Peel, core, and slice 6 apples. Butter a baking dish and sprinkle the inside all over with fine breadcrumbs. Then take 6 very thin slices of buttered bread and line the sides and bottom of the dish. Put a layer of apples an inch thick, a layer of brown sugar, 6 bits of butter, and a dusting of cinnamon, another layer of crumbs, another of apples and sugar, and so on till the dish is full, with crumbs and butter on top, and 3 tablespoonfuls of molasses poured over. Bake this 1 hour and have hard sauce to eat with it. Lemon pudding. 1 cup of sugar, 4 eggs, 2 lemons, 1 pint of milk, 1 tablespoonful of sugar, 2 tablespoonfuls of cornstarch, 1 pinch of salt. Wet the cornstarch with 1/2 cup of the milk and heat what is left. Stir up the cornstarch well, and when the milk is hot, put it in and stir. Then boil 5 minutes, stirring all the time. Melt the butter and put that in with a pinch of salt and cool it. Beat the yolks of the eggs and add the sugar, the juice of both lemons, and the grated rind of one. Pour into the milk and stir well. Put in a buttered baking dish and bake till slightly brown. Take it out of the oven, beat the whites of 2 eggs with a tablespoon of granulated sugar, and pile lightly on top, and put in the oven again till it is just brown. This is a very nice rule. Rice pudding with raisins. 1 quart of milk, 2 tablespoonfuls of rice, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup seeded raisins. Wash the rice and the raisins and stir everything together till the sugar dissolves. Then put it in a baking dish in the oven. Every little while open the door and see if a light brown crust is forming on top, and if it is, stir the pudding all up from the bottom and push down the crust. Keep on doing this till the rice swells and makes the milk all thick and creamy, which it will after about an hour. Then let the pudding cook, and when it is a nice deep brown, take it out and let it get very cold. Bread pudding. 2 cups of milk, 1 cup soft breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoonful of sugar, 2 egg yolks, 1 egg white, 1/2 teaspoonful vanilla, 1 saltspoonful of salt. Crumb the bread evenly and soak in the milk till soft. Beat it till smooth and put in the beaten yolks of the eggs, the sugar, vanilla, and salt, and last the beaten white of the egg. Put it in a buttered pudding dish and stand this in a pan of hot water in the oven for 15 minutes. Take it out and spread its top with jam, and cover with the beaten white of the other egg, with 1 tablespoonful of granulated sugar put in it, and brown in the oven. You can eat this as it is, or with cream, and you may serve it either hot or cold. Sometimes you can put a cup of washed raisins into the breadcrumbs and milk, and mix in the other things. Sometimes you can put in a cup of chopped almonds, or a little preserved ginger. Orange marmalade is especially nice on bread pudding. Orange pudding. Make just like lemon pudding, but use 3 oranges instead of 2 lemons. Cabinet pudding. 1 pint of milk, yolks of 3 eggs, 3 tablespoonfuls of sugar, 1 saltspoonful of salt. Beat the eggs, add the sugar, and stir them into the milk, which must be very hot, but not boiling. Stir till it thickens, and then take it from the fire. Put a layer of washed raisins in the bottom of a mold, then a layer of slices of stale cake or ladyfingers, then more raisins around the edge of the mold, and more cake till the mold is full. Pour the custard over very slowly so the cake will soak well, and bake in a pan of water in the oven for an hour. This pudding is to be eaten hot with any sauce you like, such as foamy sauce. Cut up figs are nice to use with the raisins, and chopped nuts are a delicious addition, dropped between the layers of the cake. Cottage pudding. 1 egg, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of milk, 1 1/2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoonful of butter. Beat the yolk of the egg light, add the sugar and butter mixed, then put in the milk, the flour, the whites of the eggs beaten stiff, and last of all the baking powder, and stir it up well. Put in a greased pan and bake nearly half an hour. If you want this very nice, put in 1/2 cup of chopped figs mixed with part of the flour. Serve with foamy sauce. Prune whips. This was a cooking school rule which the pretty aunt put in because she said it was the best sort of pudding for little girls to make. 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoonfuls stewed prunes, white of 1 egg. Cook the prunes till soft. Take out the stones and mash the prunes fine. Beat the white of the eggs very stiff. Mix in the sugar and prunes, and bake in small buttered dishes. Serve hot or cold with cream. Junket. 1 junket tablet, 1 quart milk, 1/2 cup sugar, 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Break up the junket tablet into small pieces and put them into a tablespoonful of water to dissolve. Put the sugar into the milk with the vanilla and stir till it is dissolved. Warm the milk a little, but only till it is as warm as your finger, so that if you try it by touching it with the tip, you do not feel it at all as colder or warmer. Then quickly turn in the water with the tablet melted in it, stirring it only once, and pour immediately into small cups on the table. These must stand for half an hour without being moved, and then the junket will be stiff, and the cups can be put in the ice box. In winter you must warm the cups till they are like the milk. This is very nice with a spoonful of whipped cream on each cup, and bits of preserved ginger or of jelly on it. End of Part 3, Desserts.